Let's begin with factoring a simple trinomial by grouping. And anytime you see grouping, you typically think 4 terms. And anytime you see trinomial, you typically think 3 terms. And so clearly there's something strange going on here. But the first step of this process is to take the trinomial and make it have 4 terms, okay? Let me point out first of all that there's like a hidden 1 in front of the x squared. That will be important soon. So how do you make this have 4 terms? Well, you keep the outer terms the same, but you rewrite 4x as the sum of 2 other terms, like 1x plus 3x, or negative 2x plus 6x. You try to figure out 2 numbers that add up to give you the 4 to go in the middle. So the 2 numbers that go in the middle, here and here, have to add to give us the 4, right? Because they have to give us the 4 back. But also, the 2 numbers that go in the middle have to multiply to give me the same thing as the numbers on the outside. So this is a 1, remember? So they have to add to 4, but they also have to multiply to give me the same thing as this, which is 1 times 3. So the 2 numbers also have to multiply to give me 3. So our quest becomes, instead of factoring, our quest becomes to find 2 numbers that satisfy both of these. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. So the way I like to do this is I always like to focus on the multiplication part. So I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to give me 3, and I always start with 1 and the number itself. So 1 times 3 is 3, and then I check to see if they add to give me what I want. Well, 1 plus 3 is 4. So there are the numbers we want. So I'm going to use a 1 and a 4 over here. Or sorry, I've got 3 circled, 1 and 3, because of these numbers. But they have to add to give me 4x. So let's copy the plus down. And then, so plus 1 plus 3 is not 4x, it's 4. So each of these needs an x to add up to give me 4x. Okay? And let's scoot this 3 in there a little bit closer so we know that it's part of the family there. Now we've got a trinomial rewritten in 4 terms. Now we can use our grouping. So I'll group the first 2 and the last 2. And out of the first 2, I'll pull out an x, and that leaves x plus 1. And then I need to copy my binomial on the end for grouping to work. It's got to be the same. And out of the second half, they have a common 3, so I'll pull out a positive 3. Now, between this and this, I've got x plus 1 in common. So I'll pull the common x plus 1 out, and that leaves x plus 3. And this is the factored form of the original trinomial. You could check every step along the way, check this step, or this step, and they all equal x squared plus 4x plus 3. Let's try a harder one. So in this case, I'm going to keep the 6x squared and the positive 8 the same, and I'm going to try to split up my negative 19. So I'm looking for 2 numbers that add to negative 19, and the 2 numbers in the middle have to multiply to give me the same thing as the 2 numbers on the outside, which is 6 times 8. So they have to multiply to give me 48. So now I have to find 2 numbers that satisfy both conditions, and again I'm going to focus on the multiplication part. So I'm going to start with 1 and 48 because they multiply to give me 48. Clearly not even close to adding to negative 19. In fact, if I keep going down this list and use only positive numbers, they'll never add to a negative. So when they multiply to positive 48, I could use positive and positive, or I could use negative and negative. Well, the only way to get a negative sum, when I add them, in other words, I need 2 negatives. So negative 1, negative 48. Now I'll proceed down the list. The next number that goes into 48 is 2, and it goes in 24 times. So 2 times 24 is 48. Oh, let's not forget our negatives. Negative 2 plus negative 24 is negative 26, not negative 19, so those numbers don't work either. 3 goes in 16 times. Negative 3 plus negative 16 is negative 19, so we've got our pair. Now we come back over here, negative 3, negative 16, but this is 19x, so I need x's on each of those. Now I have 4 terms, just factor by grouping. Pull a 3x out of the first 2. And I'm going to pause and finish this off. Now I'll pull out the common 2x minus 1, and it leaves 3x minus 8. And now we've factored the polynomial.